Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Beryl from Forever Yours Flowers. It's Frinally Friday. Sorry, I think people might laugh at this, so I've got to show people this. Okay, this is something very unique. We'll turn around, we'll look out the window. My husky is on the table. We might have to do something about that later, but that's okay. Isn't he supposed to be on the table? Anyway, it's Frinally Friday, and I'm here. You have me at your beck and call. Sorry, I'm a little bit worried he's going to fall off the table, but that's okay. Hang on a minute. Get down. Okay, this is me doing a quick leaving you here. I'm going to try and figure out how to get this crazy dog. Whoops. And the other dog knocked the camera. Really? Okay, see, I told you, it's Crazy Friday. And, yep, let's get this all back into alignment. Where'd you go? I'm here! Finally Friday! And Friday is becoming an interesting event in my kitchen. I am making a beautiful, beautiful table decoration. What do you think? And yes, I haven't stuck it. It's a book. See? What do you do with your old computer books? Well, in this case, I have decided that with a little bit, I've still got to put a bit of glue and things on it, that I would make a sunflower book. Are you ready to learn? Now, some of the things you will need is a Windows 98 book. Yes, I know the writing's backwards, but it's the way I've got the camera at the moment and it's not reflecting nicely. So you need a Windows 98 book. Okay, you need some paints. I use this black Gesto paint as my undercoat. You do not need this. This is just because I have a room full of amazing art supplies. This is what happens when you have been an artist for over 40 years. Bit scary. You can use any type of books. You can go to the bookstore, the secondhand bookstore, and grab yourself some amazing books like this one and create it into your own sunflower book. Now, wouldn't that look pretty cool on a wedding table with, you've got the sunflowers, and if I push this down a little bit, we'll put it down so that you can see it properly in place and see how that's going to be a pretty unique table decoration. So we're going to move this guy to the side, and we've got our book. We've got some paints. In this case, I like using these pigment paints, and the reason I use these pigment paints is they're quite unique and they give an opal effect. So I will show you what I mean. Let's get started. I have my paintbrushes. Put down some paper. Whatever you do, remember to put down some paper. The paper will stop your kitchen becoming a bombshell. Okay, this is me, just giving you a little bit of hint. Put an apron on, so that you can, if you've got an apron on, you can keep your clothes clean and dirty. Okay, you get the apron dirty, but you keep the clothes thing. I just noticed my top's falling off me, so we'll just put that back on. So let's get into this painting of the book. So first off, I've got this. It's just a black Gesto. Nice thing about this is it with a little bit, it covers up all the sins of the book, because we really don't want to be seeing these sorts of unless this is your theme. If this is your theme, that's fine. So if we get rid of this Windows 98 book that I really don't think needs to be held in my house anymore, and we put a coat of this gas stove under it so that it is covering the book and giving yourself some sort of, and don't forget to cover the spine, because unless you want to start a discussion at your wedding or at your dinner party, because you can make this for your dinner party. Doesn't have to be. I make these for, I have made these, I actually made something very similar to this, but it was waterproof, and I actually made it for a grave site. So they can be used for anywhere. But as you can tell, see, it covers it over quite nicely and gets rid of the fact. Technically, you should allow this to dry. So which is what I've done when I pull this guy apart. I've got this guy. So let's move this aside. This is what happens when you do art all at the same time. This is how I created this guy. I started off with an undercoat, which was black. As you can see, it's black there. What I was thinking of doing for this, because this is actually for a wedding, I was thinking here of putting labels in there so that they could actually give these away as presents to the grandmas, and it's a symbol, or to their mum, and it's a symbol of their wedding. So I then put flowers, which we're going to develop. Not develop. We're going to put into this book as well. So this book actually started black, exactly like this one. I didn't like the white pages. This is where you've got artistic license. People are going, oh, but how do you decide what's the best way to do things? Well, can I tell you something? There is no best way to do things. The thing about art is it's subjective. It's supposed to be subjective. It's an amazing thing. This is what Let's Check In Friday is about. Let's check in. Let's make sure we're all safe. We're not all working at the moment, so let's call in. Let's do some art. Let's do whatever. You might be a knitter. That is also okay. So, over the last couple of weeks, I've made thousands of face masks. So anybody that wants a face mask, I'm selling face masks at the moment. This is what happens when your wedding industry kind of goes a little bit pear-shaped. You don't stress over it. I could stress over it. I could say, hey, I'm going to fold. I'm going to fall in a hole. But no, at the end of all this, I'm definitely going to survive, because it's what it's all about. So it's pretty unique. It's very different. So let's go back down to the book. So this is not really dry, so I normally would not do it this way. You should have it tacky. This is outright wet. But when we use these pigment paints, and hang on a moment, I just need another dry brush. We use a lovely little fluffy brush like this. This is a Japanese brush that I've got. I have hundreds of brushes. Use whatever you have in the house. That's what it's about. And so what we can do here is, I love this paint. It's a pigment paint, and look at the color. Look what happens with the book. Isn't this powder the most amazing stuff? It's just a pigment paint, and you take, if the book was dry, I wouldn't get lifting of the paint. But as you can tell, just blend it in. If you want to put a bit of gold in it, because I have gold. This is your ideas, not my ideas. And suddenly, we're developing ourselves a bit of an opal book. And we're building up on it. And we're just building. This is what I teach in my, I've got a private Facebook group if you would like to learn. And we go through the processes of, in this case, I've made this one a lot more green, a lot more gold than the other one, but that's okay. because wouldn't you want them all to be different at your wedding? Or in this case, I'm making them for a wedding. Whatever you do with this pigment paint, make sure you put the lids back on. As a person that has personally dropped the pigment paint everywhere, it's really hard to pick up. But we can still just dab the end of the book, and instead you don't have to really paint the back part of it, because it's going to be sitting on the table like this. And you could even keep it as simple as, now this is going to stick, I know this, and you just stick a simple candle on top of it. You can also drill out the book and insert the candle in there, but whatever you do, make sure you insert a jar into the book, because the book is flammable. Otherwise, use an LED candle. So what we've got at the moment, and what I like, I'm a finger artist. I like blending things over with my hands, because it gives a very different, unique look, because you kind of rough up the edges. So now this is all your idea. Well, do you want the cover of the book to be white, like most books are? This one's a bit old, so it's what you do with a computer book, a very old computer book. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I've lost my paint, I'm going to get a little plate like so. As you can tell, I've already used the corner of it for the other book. I put whoops, I've hidden that behind the book. The book's very big, isn't it? So I just put a tap of glue there, not glue, gold paint. In this case, this is a bronzy gold. This one is called coarse copper. So this one is a coarse copper. It's by Golden Acrylics. It's pretty cool. And I've just put it on the paintbrush exactly like so. We don't want it to be totally even covered, but we just paint the edges of the book like so. And suddenly the book looks a little bit older, but it looks fresher and better for the process, for the look that you're going for, so that it looks quite special on the wedding table or on your kitchen table while you're eating dinner. You don't have to use sunflowers. You definitely don't have to use sunflowers. Let's do the other end. As you can tell, I'm just trying to get a little bit of paint. I've ran out of paint, so bear with me. I need to put a little bit more paint on my paint. I always squeeze it out onto a plate or onto a paint palette, and the reason I do that is solely so that I don't waste paint. I know for a fact this paint I've got here is quite old. I've probably had it for 5 years. I'm so conservative on how I put my paints together that I try and make sure that I don't waste any at all. So, and that's a little bit what it's about. So as you can tell, we've kind of painted that. One end's a little bit darker than the other, but that's okay. The other thing we can do, if we want to get a bit of age on it, we can use some of this gold black again and just put some black. See how we can, but blend it in. This is what fingers are for. Sometimes I use gloves, sometimes I don't. Depends what mood I'm in, depends what I'm feeling at the time. And I blend it in, and it kind of gives a little bit more of an aged look. This is very subjective. All this blending, all this fingers, some people couldn't use their fingers because they go, "Ooh, that's horrible." So, but I'm not that type of person. So now I'm not really worried about these letters popping through. On the table, if I was to leave that like that, it gives it a little bit of a, I don't know, mystery to the book. We could definitely make this book a lot more antique-y by, see how I'm blending the gold, the copper into the book. Whoops, got to be careful of the pigment paint. Forgot about that. That was my fault. But see how we're just blending it in and we're creating a table decoration. Usually we're just going to wash, see, this is what happens. You always just have a cloth nearby. It's much easier. It's much easier if you've got a cloth nearby. So it's just about, this is what Fridays should be about. Fridays should be about checking up on your fellow people, making sure that they're all okay, but having some fun. You've had a week of working from home. No offense, I've worked from home for 30 years. I'm used to it, but even I'm going mad and I've been working from home for 30 years. So I feel sympathy for the people that suddenly have to do it. So now, guess what we've got? This is where you go and raid. This one's mine, by the way, because my husband never owned a drill. I did. And I own a saw bench and I own all these things because I'm the textile artist in the place. So I was kind of the person that would go a little bit crazy. And so what would other people buy their wives or their girlfriends for Christmas or their birthdays? Something quite some nice perfume or something different. Well, I did get perfume, but I also got drills and saws and sanders and all sorts of things. So now let's go back down. The way I've attached these flowers for ease is I've just taken my drill and drill. Sorry about the noise, guys. And I've just drilled a hole. And this is where you can use the book and allow it to have a bit of character and it's spread apart. Or some people would say, oh, I hate the way the book's sitting up and it's not sitting nicely and how can I make it better and stuff like that? Well, another one of my favourite toys is the hammer. Guess what? Paper is just wood. So let's get the hammer, flatten it down a bit, and suddenly, if you have a look, normally I would bash this quite hard. The book is much more together. You could even glue the book closed if you wanted to. I kind of like the idea to make it look like it's an actual book because I want that feeling. What I want is people to be sticky beaks. So when they're designing something, I want them to be a sticky beak. I want them to encourage them to have a little bit of artistic license. This is what I do in my classes. At the moment, most of my classes are ran on Zoom. That's okay. We still have fun. You still get the bubbly, crazy Beryl. So I've got my hammer. I've done my hammer. I'll just do while I'm talking to you, I'll just do a couple more bangs down with the hammer to make sure it's a little bit flatter it's not so open. If I didn't like the inside of the book there, I would do what I did to the other book. I would paint the insides of the book so I could cover it more. But you can use sponges. This is where artistic license, if you don't have a paintbrush, you can use a kitchen sponge. You can use blue paints. The thing I like the most is, those little sample pots that you can go to the hardware store. And yes, I know we can't go into the hardware store at the moment, but you can still order them and pick them up from Click and Collect. And you can order the paintbrushes as well. And when you're doing these sorts of things, when you're creating this sort of art, you can use your kitchen sponges. let's get into my kitchen. This one here, this little sponge here, is one of my favourite tools because, as you can tell, it's got these amazing pink, and when you put the paint on it, it doesn't come through smooth and pretty and unique. It comes through with this lovely texture on it. I find that's really quite interesting and beautiful. We're going back down again, sorry, back down to the next level. So what I'm doing here is we've got the book, but this one's going to be a sunflower. So we don't need the long stems in the sunflower, so sometimes I just rip them off, and sometimes they don't. They just don't want to come off. I should have practiced with this one before the time. Okay, as you can tell, I've got it like that. Rip that off, but I've already got the hole. I would use a hot glue gun, and I would attach the flower just like so that we've got something really unique. If you wanted a bit of greenery, this is one of the Forever Yours flowers, watergrass plants that we've got. I would just build, and still using hot glue gun. Normally what I'd do is I would drill a tinier hole for that to sit in, and then I would bend it. But because we're live and you don't really need more noise in your ears, again, I'm just building a very unique and different table decoration. As you can tell, I don't know whether you can tell, there is a little bit of sparkle on this as well. So this is me checking up on you today, checking up on all of you. Thank you for Damien for watching. Thank you for Tim for watching. It's really unique having guys watching me. I normally have girls watching me, but that's okay. I like this. Makes me feel pretty special. Drop in the chat. I'd love to talk to you. If you want some hints on how you can make, these books, you can go into your mum and dad who collect all these books that, like a 1998 Windows book. I'm sorry, we're way past 98. I've now made it into an amazing table decoration that people can do and use for themselves. So this is Beryl from Forever Yours Flowers, textile artist, wedding planner, all round good guy, here for you. Stay home, stay safe, and soon I'll be at your wedding designing it. But I know for a fact Tim and Damien don't want me there, but that's okay, that's fine. But that's okay, I can make them table decorations for their kitchen for something special. Anyway, this is Beryl signing off. See you on Monday, 5:15. I have no idea what I'm doing on Monday. I have not decided Monday's theme, next week's theme, but please, if you need anybody to chat with, please remember, we all need to look after each other at this time. Bye for now. Bye.